My name is Abby Crain. I am the designer, owner, and creator of the Blue Latitude. We are an island-inspired brand that makes leather goods, accessories, and jewelry. I moved home and I found that there were no creative careers here. There wasn't a fashion industry. It was very hard to do something in the creative realm, right? And so I saw this ad for a Guma class and I decided to just take it. And it kind of helped me organize and hone in my ideas for a business, and they helped me form a business plan. They had several guest speakers, and that was very useful. It was a very useful tool. And at the end of the program, I made so many contacts and networks, fellow peers who are also starting small businesses, and they're still my friends till today. And we all, share our stories, and we all support each other and growth for each other. So that's been very rewarding. And they really, helped me have the courage to move forward with actually pulling the trigger and starting my business. So it took me a year after the Guma program, and then I finally did my first pop-up shop, and I was just so floored with the response and the feedback, and people loved it. And that's kind of how the ball started rolling from the Blue Latitude, and just like it being received so well, and it fueled my fire to create more and more designs. Okay, one of the things that came naturally to me was just being able to storytell and kind of share my story. Because I loved photography, I kind of took a lot of pictures behind the scenes. I kind of showed the direct relation of what inspired me and how it translated to my pieces. I kind of was able to storytell the process of how I came to evolve the design. So that the marketing, the storytelling, the photography, and the creation process were all things that came to me very easy. The things that didn't come to me easy was like public speaking and talking to other people about my product, or really talking about myself. Those are not really things that come naturally or with ease. So I mean, even now, it still takes me a little bit to get in front of people and talk to them, but with practice it comes a little bit more naturally. And sourcing, I would say sourcing on Guam is probably the biggest thing for small business owners. It's aside from shipping costs and shipping delays, there's something different about the instant gratification of being able to touch, feel, and see things, especially when you're sourcing. So I know some of you've ordered those things from Amazon, and it's kind of oh, the picture, it's not what it is when you receive it. It's not as pictured, or it's not the quality that you want. So part of the small business process, I feel, is you kind of waste a lot of money sourcing in the beginning, because and I think that really is not something just specific to Guam. I think in general, that's part of the trial and error. So I would say that was one of the things that was very difficult. And then just a lot of places don't even ship to Guam. So sourcing is definitely one of the main issues that I feel faces almost every small business here on Guam. And then also pricing, a lot of people don't know how to price, and people would just price out of nowhere, you know, and there's like a whole costing breakdown, and I learned that a little bit of that in Guma. So I mean, it's just kind of like those were some of the issues in the beginning. My design process kind of just begins with like my morning walks at the beach. I take my dog out in the morning, and some days we go to the beach for our morning walks, and that's literally where it starts. Like just the smell of the water, the sound of the ocean, sound of the waves, and just that whole beachy feeling. I really try to encapsulate that so that I can make my buyers or my audience feel where I am, or like transport them to where I am. From the beginning, when I wake up in the morning and I'm on the beach walking, I'm collecting shells, I'm looking at how the water ripples on the sand, and I usually take like several pictures in the morning. Like my photo roll is ridiculous: water, ocean, same seascapes all the time. So those are the things that inspire me. And then I always think, when I come back home or like I'm in the design process, I just kind of think, so like for my ombre designs, I have this collection. It's a dyed collection, and I was always inspired about how the sand hits the waves and how you get that blue, the white, and then the sand color. And so one of my earliest designs, and I repeated in different colors, but that was one of the designs that I always try to emulate. And so when I did, you know, when I play with dyeing process, I try to create that same look in the bag or in the dye process of how I process the leather. I also collect a lot of shells, and I used to have piles and piles of shells, and I didn't know what to do with them for the longest time. It was just a hobby. And I said, oh, that would make a cute earring. And I wanted to kind of, I think part of a lot of my design aesthetic is I want it to feel island, but I don't want it to feel kitschy. I don't want it to feel like that $15 tourist made in China knockoff. Like I wanted it to feel very chic, very island, and almost like resort, right? In the last year, I've had to adjust from in-person pop-up shops or fairs to really online. You know, it's a little bit more work because a lot of my pieces are one of a kind. So I'd have to shoot every single product versus, you know, doing a fair or a pop-up where you just bring it and whoever comes, you know, gets first dibs on whatever products. So for transitioning to an online market or website only during COVID was a little bit challenging, but it was really effective because you have enough time online or on your other platforms such as like Facebook or Instagram to kind of build the hype, and you have to like photograph every single piece, but you can build so much anticipation and then then do your release, and it will sell out like within the same day, usually, however many pieces you do. So I feel like it's a different type of market. You get a different type of interaction, but moving to online, you just capture a whole different audience and you have a different kind of reach. I primarily use Instagram just because I story throughout the day, and then I try to post at least 3 to 4 times a week. And then simultaneously, there's a feature on Instagram where it posts automatically to Facebook. So I'm not as active on Facebook, but I kind of rely on how it's across platforms. So it just automatically posts to Facebook. And then I'm also have been dabbling in TikTok, no dancing, but I do a lot of like behind the scenes videos. So some of the stuff that I do in stories, I just kind of cut them into behind the scene photos of how I make the product for TikTok. They really like respond to like when they actually see you making it. It kind of makes them want to buy from you a little bit more because they actually see that you're making it. Some of the tools I use or apps that I use is Hyperlapse, and I use that to kind of do all my behind the scenes footage. I just kind of film myself while I'm working, and you can cut and edit those in that app. And then another app that I use, and it's probably the most helpful tool, is Shopify, and that's an app that runs simultaneously or in partner with my actual website, and you can monitor all the back end stuff and analytics through the app there. So I use that to kind of gather my orders and see how many people are on the website. And for organization and productivity, I'm a pen to paper girl, so I just do old-fashioned lists and sticky notes all over so that I kind of know what still needs to be done throughout the day. So for the market meetups and fairs, it was nice because you have that interaction where you can actually talk about your product and really get people to understand a little bit more about the product. I think when it's a website, a lot of people kind of just breeze through the information. You're competing with so many other businesses online, right? And I think when you get to talk to someone in person and you tell them that you're making it and you know what type of leather you're using, what dye process you go through, the in-persons are very beneficial because people, you can really explain your story to people. Whereas on the website, I feel like some people kind of skip through all that about me information. So that's kind of like a negative of being online. But one of the good things that come from being online is actually, you know, the reach has been a little bit further. A lot of people that couldn't come to my pop-ups, I used to have moms come to my pop-up like on FaceTime and being like, what do you want, Nanny? This one, do you want this bag, or what color earring? And like I would have people shopping via FaceTime for whomever their loved one was in the States, just because they knew the drops would only be like in person. So I think being online now, a lot of the diaspora, you know, Guam folks have access where they didn't have access before. So that, you know, I thought that that was such a small part of my customer base, but that has actually grown my customer base now. Being online is just the accessibility to other people. It's really helped. But the shipping costs, packaging, those are all extra things that, you know, I didn't necessarily factor into prices before. And so that has kind of, I probably do need to do a price adjustment at some point for online pieces. But yeah, you know, you have to think of packaging, you have to think of like shipping, and then just going to the post office here on Guam is like a whole nother deal. So it's a little bit of a pain, but you know, getting the product to a different audience is really like, obviously the goal for any business is to, you know, kind of grow or get more people to try your stuff. And so, you know, it's been more positive than negative being online. What propelled me to go online was just to have a wider reach. You know, I had a lot of repeat customers that would come to the pop-ups, but I wanted to capture a new audience. So that's why I moved online. And it ended up paying off because when people got their pieces, they would take pictures of their items, they would repost, they would share, and they would tag me and stuff. And so it also helped me generate content. Really, if you have a strong marketing plan or following, like they kind of create the content for you. You know, you just encourage them to use your hashtags, encourage them to tag you and stuff. And it's always great content that you can repost anytime. And it's super exciting because like, honestly, every small business owner really does do a happy dance, like every piece you purchase. And when someone, you know, shares the love that they have for your art or the pieces that you create, it's like the most rewarding feeling. Advice I'd give someone who wants to start a business is really just do it. I mean, you can sit on ideas or let it brew and brew, but nothing will happen until you actually do it. And you'll never learn until you make the mistakes. So get educated, go sign up for a Guma class, go take courses online, go watch YouTube, like open a Shopify, and really like you just need to start with one small product and, you know, like share your process, share with people, talk about it, because if you're excited, if you're enthusiastic about it, other people will share that enthusiasm. So my advice is just do it.